Alright, I know I'm a little late to the party. Article was published on June 21st. But Gersh still want to respond to parts of this article, at least. Why do gun lovers love seeing a 7-year-old firing? Well, there are two answers on this one. One's the situationally dependent one that you created, and the other's the real answer. The real answer is, the fact of the matter is, many of us grew up shooting. We had a blast doing it. We learned proper firearm handling. We learned proper firearm safety. And we acquired a good skill. Maybe to protect ourselves should the need arise, most likely from criminals, which, Gersh, you have no clue to stop anyway. Your solutions have failed. And the fact of the matter is that we want to impart these same experiences and skills onto future generations, and we love seeing that happen. And the second reason is the one that's more situationally dependent is the fact you set yourself up for that deed. When you sit there and claim an AR-15, firing one is traumatic, and the recoil bruises your shoulder, you just set yourself up for failure, especially when you're sitting there trying to advocate for a ban on them. i.e., the legal revocation of the ability for average people to have one. Alright, so going down on the article, and I'm going to post the link to the article in the description. I'm really not reading this whole article here, but I do want to respond to some highlights here. You go down, I get it, most kids are braver than, in America, most kids are braver than me. Many children are raised to proudly fire weapons, and yes, my surname is Kunzman. Alright, so I guess you have to kind of come from the rest of America to understand this, Gersh. But when you sit there and say, firing an AR-15 was horrifying, it traumatized me, and then the recoil bruised my shoulder, and then you write your name, your surname is Kunzman, and then you get people from where I'm from who fire things that are a lot louder and recoil a lot harder than an AR-15. And we hear you claim your surname is Kunzman. We're thinking Poe's Law in effect. We're thinking this has to be a joke. This has to be satire. This has to be a parody. But have you watched, or if you actually watch these videos, Google kids firing rifles, and you will get an astounding number of young people playing with objects that should not even be toys for an adult. Well, I don't necessarily consider myself, my firearms, toys, per se, but yeah. I'm a firearms enthusiast. And you know what? I think we'd actually do good to repeal some of these other NFA restrictions too. Just saying. You contradict yourself quite a bit in this article. You get little kid shooting a big gun, which shows a boy being knocked over from the recoil of the rifle as his father's laughed. Well, okay. Well, that is an anecdotal case. Most of us don't approve of that behavior. I've ripped into some people's asses for that behavior. That behavior doesn't justify banning the rest of us from owning firearms. Nor does it justify any of the other restrictions you want right now. Put it that way. Because I know you guys are going to sit there and turn around. We're not for banning all guns. You guys are crazy. Justify the restrictions you want for now. Because I know as soon as you're going to get those restrictions, there's going to be more and more and more and more and more and more and more you want. That's obvious. And you're stupid to think we're that gullible and naive to believe you. That you're not in favor of banning all guns. You get the innocuously titled young girl shoots AR-15. Of course, it goes on. Apparently, the girl was uncomfortable with it, but hell, at least she got the experience. She knows where she stands. You know what? And maybe later on in life, she decides she likes it. Maybe she doesn't. But at least she has the experience. Now, go on to say some kids want to play with guns, some kids want to play with toys. You know what? That's completely non-sequitur. You know what? Our view. Okay, some kids want the option of being able to shoot guns with their parents, and then later on, when they're grown up, be able to shoot guns as adults on their own. And some kids want to play with toys as kids and go on to do other things as adults. That's completely non-sequitur to what you're advocating for, dipshit. That's a false argument. You're trying to paint a false narrative. You're the one coming in and advocating for a ban on the AR-15s, or have you forgotten that, dumbass? And this parentheses here, just shows how much of a buzzkill Joy he is. All right, going on. Most popular happy childhood videos were released by House of Guns. You go on to say, I don't think the girl was traumatized by her experience with AR-15, but I won't question she seems to be enjoying it herself. Well, if she's enjoying it, how the fuck is she getting traumatized? Doo-doo-doo. And I'll admit, she's a better shot than I am. Gersh, most children are a better shot than you are. You've already proven that. But I'll call it what it is. And here's where you disprove that previous line where I called non sequitur. Encouraging very young children to fire weapons is bad. You see, you went up to disprove the line, some kids want to play with guns, other kids want to play with toys. Obviously, you don't think they should have the freedom to do that. It's bad for the kids, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. Good. You got some fucking left-wing ideologues to inject their personal opinion as if it was scientifically backed professional opinion. Yeah. Good. You know what? I can do the same thing. Well, you know what? If you have kids and you don't have a gun, you're failing them. You're failing them by having the proper tools to protect their lives. What, you want yourselves and your kids to be at the mercy of the criminal who probably won't show you or your kids any mercy if they break in? Oh yeah, you're a bad fucking parent. No, you don't want to teach your kids proper firearm handling, proper firearm safety. So especially when they get out in the real world, they have some skills to protect themselves with. You're a bad fucking parent. You see how that works, Gersh. But beyond the death toll, which seems to be occurring in places where people like you have your way, mixing kids and guns is bad for society. We have a problem with violence in this country. Oh, yeah, in places where people like you have had your way, And it may be just because too many gun owners treat weapons like just another Barbie doll. Okay, you know what? I got 50 guns, over 50 guns, where I'm at right now, in my home. Funny, there isn't a violence problem in my home. I haven't figured that one out yet. It goes the same way with, friends and family that have significant firearms collections, or even guns at all in their homes. For some reason, they don't have violence problems. Yeah. Yet, it seems like in a lot of homes where there ain't guns in them, they seem to have a lot of violence problems. Too many gun owners convey the notion that their sons can only be good kids if they enjoy firing weapons of war. Again, straw man. Even our best experts don't know what causes some kids to become violent. Again, you contradicted yourself and the American Academy of Pediatrics there, dude. I got a few theories. One, that left-wing entitlement mentality. Because, I've seen quite a few left-wingers fly off the handle just for simply disagreeing with them. Maybe this thug mentality may play a role in it. A little bit more than maybe, say, some inanimate object that's really in its form is just an inanimate object at that. There are ways you can misuse it. There are certain laws of physics you have to follow with it. Just the same with every other inanimate object, but at the same time, it's an inanimate object. Oh, and by the way, AR-15 is not a weapon of war. I know people have probably pointed this out to you before, but it's probably, like all other facts, have probably deflected off your regressive cranium. The AR-15 is a civilian rifle. You want to talk about the M16, the M4, the Colt Commando, the M4A1. Those are military weapons, and they're not available for the general populace sales. And even if you get one manufactured before 1986, it's still not like going into a gun store and buying an FA Title I firearm. You should learn about the law before you speak about it. Treating weapons of war as a normal part of childhood suggests it's a good thing to be comfortable with the tools of violence. Well, you know what? It's a good thing to not be traumatized by this. This is an inanimate object. And you know what? While, you can use this for bad things. You can use a lot of things for bad things. You can use your car for bad things. You can use your pen for bad things. You can use your laptop for bad things, obviously, as you've done, spreading misinformation. Funny how, you left-wing ideologues don't want to talk about how spreading misinformation can be used, is used as a tool of violence. You guys don't seem to want to talk about how spreading misinformation is one of the key tools of dictators and one of the key tools of people who incite violent mobs. But while yes, this AR-15 can be used for bad things, you can also use it to protect your family, which I say is a pretty damn good thing. You use it to protect your life. I know, say my niece. If there was ever a situation she was home alone, and say my brother wasn't there and my sister-in-law wasn't there, I'd rather her grab her daddy's pistol and use that, or her daddy's AR-15 and use that to protect herself against home invaders and possibly take their lives as opposed to her life being taken. And I know there's a Second Amendment. Yes, it protects the rights, a citizen's right to defend themselves against threats, foreign and domestic. It actually protects the right to keep and bear arms. Gersh. The right to defend themselves goes without saying. But the right to bear arms is not a call to use them. Again, another straw man, Gersh. You're the one arguing against our right to keep and bear arms, if you hadn't forgotten. You're the one calling on a ban of AR-15s and other black rifles. You're the one calling for it. We're not calling to go use these against you or the federal government or anything like that. You're the one calling for our right to own and carry these. And hell, probably other guns as well, aside from just the black rifles, to be completely ignored. You're the one who's advocating for them to be illegal. So, your statement here, the right to bear arms, is not a call to use them, as a complete fucking straw man, dude. Gun advocates want to normalize the tools of violence by making happy kids and gun videos. Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. And you know what? We want the kids to have the proper information. Unlike your readers. But the result is another generation of voters and elected officials who think war is not a horror but just another test of manhood. We're not saying that, dude. Again, complete fucking straw man. A geopolitical game of poker where actual ramifications of weaponry are never considered. Well, you know what? That's funny that you bring that up. Because you gun controllers never want to consider the ramifications of gun-free zones. You never want to consider the ramifications of your actions. Carol Bone. My viewers, go look her up. Go look the situation up. You look her up too, Gersh. Because it was your fucking policies. It was people who were in line with your fucking policies on guns that got her killed. That deprived her of a tool she could have used to protect herself from her ex with. You know what? You people, in my eyes, are an accomplice to her death. You know? And the fact that you're going to sit there and say that we haven't considered the ramifications of our freedom, you're going to sit there and accuse us of that when you want control of other people. We're not asking for control of other people's lives. You are. And then when your ramifications fail, you people never want to fucking take responsibility for your actions. But yet, when we say, hey, you know what? It's best you choose your method of self-defense. We're not trying to get involved. Just don't get involved with our choice of self-defense. Or our choice of method of self-defense. You want to sit there and accuse us of being the irresponsible ones. You know, if that's not projection and a straw man, I ain't seen that yet. There's no definition to the word projection and straw man. And a pot calling a kettle black. Well, really, pot calling snow black, but you know, hell. You know. And again, because, you know, real men aren't pussies. Yeah, well, Gersh, you're not a real man. In fact, you're not a real adult. A fucking 7-year-old has more on you. To stop the cycle of violence, we need to stop the cycle of violence. Well, again, another non-sequitur there. But what am I to expect from people like you? You people only want to take away freedom and all you've got for explanations are non sequitur, straw man, and just meaningless statements, buzzwords, to say the least. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. God damn, I finished that many beers already. All right, y'all take her easy now.